Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where I share the latest updates about Sheikh Hamdan and his family. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so now, so you never miss any of the upcoming news. Today I'm going to share the latest poem written by Sheikh Hamdan's ex-wife Haadiya. As many of you know, she recently went to visit Sheikh Hamdan at his Newmarket mansion in England. However, during her visit, his current wife, Sheikh Thani, was present, and Sheikh Hamdan decided to send Haadiya back to her country. This left Haadiya feeling deeply insulted. Later, Sheikh Hamdan visited her to apologize, but Haadiya remained silent and eventually sent him back without much conversation. This poem, written by Haadiya on the 18th of September 2025, reflects her true feelings about this experience. First of all, I would like to share the original poem image which had shared by Haadiya on that day. Keep your eye on it because after that I'm going to share the translation of it. Poem translation. You called me back with verses sweet, yet sent me away in shame. A fleeting guest within your world denied the place you claim. Your silence dressed in kindness could not heal this quiet pain. So I return to shadows, where my pride shall still remain. Poem explanation. You called me back with verses sweet, yet sent me away in shame. In this opening line, Haadiya expresses the contradiction she experienced. Sheikh Hamdan had been writing her heartfelt poems, pleading for her return, making her believe he longed for her presence once again. His words painted a picture of reconciliation, warmth, and a renewed bond. However, when she gathered her courage and visited him, the outcome was the opposite of what she expected. Instead of being welcomed, she felt dismissed and humiliated when Sheikh Thani saw her, and Hamdan decided to send her back. The contrast between verses sweet and sent me away in shame reflects the painful disparity between his poetic promises and his actions. Haadiya feels that his poetry lured her into hope, only to betray her trust when faced with reality. It's a lament about how words can create illusions that crumble in practice. The sweetness of his poetry turned bitter in her heart, because instead of being embraced, she was pushed aside. This line captures her disappointment. She feels that he spoke to her soul with passion, but acted in a way that wounded her dignity. It sets the emotional tone of heartbreak, mistrust, and disillusionment. A fleeting guest within your world, denied the place you claim. Here, Haadiya reflects on her role in Sheikh Hamdan's life after the incident. She no longer feels like a beloved partner or someone who belongs by his side. Instead, she feels like a temporary visitor, tolerated for a brief moment but never given a rightful place. The phrase "fleeting guest" suggests impermanence and lack of importance, as though her presence is not truly desired, only permitted under conditions. She uses the word "denied" to emphasize rejection, not only by circumstance but also by the man whose words had promised her otherwise. "The place you claim" points back to his poetry, where he professed that she still held a sacred position in his heart. However, when reality tested those claims, she was refused entry into that very space he spoke of. Haadiya feels that he has claimed her as part of his heart, yet in practice, she has no home there anymore. This line highlights her inner conflict. She once belonged, but now she sees herself as an outsider, pushed to the margins of his life. It's a bitter realization that love and poetry may not survive the demands of reality. Your silence dressed in kindness could not heal this quiet pain. This verse points to Sheikh Hamdan's attempt at reconciliation after the incident. He visited Haadiya again, perhaps with an apologetic demeanor, showing kindness through gestures rather than words. Yet his silence, his failure to truly acknowledge or address the depth of her hurt, becomes another wound. Haadiya interprets his silence as avoidance. Instead of directly confronting the humiliation she endured, he approached her with soft kindness, perhaps hoping it would suffice to ease her heart. But for her, this silence deepened the pain because it denied her the validation and respect she longed for. The phrase "quiet pain" reflects how she carries this wound inwardly, not loudly accusing him, but silently bleeding with pride and sorrow. His kindness feels insufficient, like a fragile bandage over a deep scar. Haadiya is essentially saying that kindness without honesty cannot heal betrayal. She feels his love is incomplete, gentle on the surface, but unwilling to face the truth of what happened. This verse unveils her disillusionment with apologies that lack depth, showing how love sometimes fails not through cruelty, but through silence when words are most needed. So I return to shadows, where my pride shall still remain. The final verse captures Haadiya's decision. Rather than subjecting herself to further humiliation, she chooses to withdraw. The shadows symbolize retreat, solitude, and invisibility. She is stepping back from his world, which seems full of conflict and divided loyalties. While love might draw her toward him, her pride protects her from further wounds. Pride here is not arrogance, but dignity, the core of her self-respect. Though she may still carry feelings for Sheikh Hamdan, she refuses to be diminished or treated as secondary. This decision is both empowering and tragic. Empowering because she asserts control over her own worth. Tragic because it means walking away from a love that once defined her. She would rather remain in the quiet shadows than be paraded into the light, only to be shamed again. The verse reveals her strength as a woman who values herself beyond the allure of poetry, or fleeting gestures of affection. She accepts that she cannot change his divided world, so she chooses her own sanctuary of pride. It closes the poem with a sense of finality. Love is left behind, but dignity remains untouchable. The poem captures Haadiya's feelings of betrayal and wounded pride after Sheikh Hamdan invited her back with tender poems, but then dismissed her in front of his current wife, Sheikha Thani. She feels deceived. Once promised a place in his heart, she realizes she is only a temporary guest in his life. Even when he visits her again with silent kindness, his lack of true words cannot heal her pain. Ultimately, she chooses to withdraw into solitude, keeping her dignity intact, even if it means leaving love behind. So, this is the poem shared by Sheikh Hamdan's ex-wife, Haadiya Zen, on the 18th of September, 2025. I hope you can feel the depth in every word of this poem and truly enjoy this video. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon below so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.